All right, Ambush. Today we are joined by a folk singer, songwriter who has just released his debut full-length album. He has been working towards this 10 years plus as a singer-songwriter. He's been releasing music for over 5 years. He has a couple of EPs under his belt as well, but this latest collection of tracks, my goodness, it is incredible, and I cannot wait to dive behind this debut full-length album, Traveler, with my guest today, John Muirhead. How's it going today, John?
I'm good, thank you. How are you? Thanks for having me.
Hey, I'm very excited to have you on the show. I am having a great mood. I'm very excited to dive behind this new album here today with you, my friend.
Awesome. Love to hear it. Me too.
Oh, yeah. Well, let's not hold off any longer. Let's dive right on in. And from what I could see online, what I could read, it's actually been a little bit of a, for lack of a better term, journey to get to this album here, Traveler. It's been over 2 years. So when exactly did this album begin to take form?
Yeah, it has definitely been a journey. In 2019, I played over 85 shows across Canada, from as far east as Halifax, Nova Scotia, as far west as Tofino, British Columbia, and I was writing a lot. It was a very creatively inspiring time, and along the themes of setting it on your own, about traveling, about figuring out who you are, and about adventure and the highs and lows that kind of come with that. So I was writing a lot at the time, and using all these performances to test out new material when I could. And I returned from the road and started working on an album. We did all this pre-production, recorded drums and bass at the end of 2019, and had a whole bunch of sessions for spring of 2020 in mind. And we all know what happened spring of 2020. So it was quite an adventure once again to figure out how to finish this album in a really unpredictable time.
Mm-hmm. So you had already began to record the album, but then you were forced to sort of adapt and sort of have to move on from there. So did this album have to take, after that first location, did you guys sort of have to wait to get back inside the studio? Did you just adapt and start doing some home recording? How did that process sort of come together for the recording part of it?
Yeah, it was a bit of both. So Taylor Lucas, who was a producer on the majority of the album, we ended up kind of waiting and changing our plans around and working around the restrictions to get into the studio together, and mostly working on it, the two of us, and then having some of our collaborators record remotely, or kind of changing plans as to like who was playing what on the record. And then at the same time, I was recording, learning how to record at home. I had always messed around with demoing at home, but there's a couple tracks that I recorded completely at home and collaborated with my good friend Alex Emmerich, who was mixing those tracks remotely as well. So yeah, a little bit of both.
So you kind of learned a little bit of production skills as a sort of something you probably didn't expect when you began this album.
That's for sure. Yeah, I mean, I always felt I really wanted to focus on the performance and the songwriting, and leave the production to people who were much better at it than myself. But the extra time allowed me a chance to really work on that and hone that skill.
Yeah, it's when you don't have those 85 plus shows in a year to go and travel to, and otherwise, that's quite a bit of opened up time for sure.
Exactly. Yeah.
Fantastic. But of course, you did actually take the opportunity to play some shows, still taking that opportunity to sort of keep that live music energy alive, while also still trying to build some funds for creating this new album by doing some backyard shows, some driveway shows. So how did that idea sort of come together, and what was that like?
Yeah. So in the summer of 2020, I was connected with a guy named Matt Masters from Calgary, and he started doing these curbside concerts where he actually built a stage on top of his minivan, which is super cool. And he was driving around in neighborhoods and playing these socially distanced concerts that were, fully battery powered, amplifiers, and no need to be within 6 feet of anybody, and being able to perform all these concerts. And after talking to him a little bit, started doing similar things here in Ontario. And the first year I did, maybe about 5 or 6 of these concerts with people who had hosted house concerts with me before, who had been supporting my music, etc. And then in 2021, through TikTok, which I really found an amazing community on that platform as well, I started posting some content from that first year of doing it. And I ended up booking out my entire summer this past year, which essentially allowed me to fund the release of this record, which has been, incredible.
No, that's very incredible. It's you never really know like what that next thing that's going to create that opportunity. And we talked about adapting earlier as well, and just like not just adapting by going to the live set, but also just using that newer social platform and just being able to just see what incredible things can come from putting yourself out there, and just seeing like what kind of people connect with your music, and then just how it grows from there. And like you said, you booked an entire summer out of that, which is incredible.
Yeah, well, thank you. Yeah, it took me by surprise, really. It was, thankfully, just a few videos that kind of got in front of the right people. And next thing I know, I was organizing, a little summer tour. And thankfully, as much as I love to travel, as, the album title and subject matter would suggest, it was nice to be able to play that many shows without going that far from home too. Mm-hmm. So yeah, really grateful for that whole.
Sort of build up that local fan base and community a little bit more too.
Totally.
Yeah. All right. So of course I want to dive a little bit more into that live aspect a little bit later, but of course we need to dive a little bit further into this album still. So our first taste of Traveler finally did come our way at the beginning of 2021 after this long wait, after probably putting things on the back burner there for quite a bit. Finally, the title track came to us in January here. So what exactly does the song Traveler mean to you? And what was the idea behind making that the first taste of this album?
Yeah, Traveler is a song that it means a lot to me. It's kind of like, I write a lot from direct experience, and I write a lot, as an expression of maybe something I'm going through. This one kind of felt like it was a bit more generalized in terms of like something that I would probably need to hear, or maybe, and because it's a message that I needed to hear, hopefully it's something that others do too. But essentially it's, between all my travels, just kind of realizing, that self-agency, and that kind of simple idea that, you can be in control of your own life, and you can make decisions, and you can be the person who's deciding what your future and what your path is going to look like. And I was inspired greatly by a book called The Alchemist, which I reference in the lyrics as well. The character Santiago is referenced there, and that book is essentially that idea in a longer allegory. So yeah, I put it all together for Traveler, and it came first because really more out of utility than anything. It was we were closest to finishing it in the pre-production sessions, and it sort of took a more final form quicker than some of the other tunes. And I'm really happy with the way that we were able to release it first, because I think it's kind of a perfect encapsulation of the record. It's got that folk element to it, but it's not a fully acoustic song, and it kind of introduces the more full band arrangements as well. So I was happy with that being the first taste.
Mm-hmm. Very wonderful song. And I like that aspect because as someone who has read a little bit of Paulo Coelho himself, very amazing book to read. So anybody who hasn't read it definitely should go ahead. And I like how you sort of maybe add your own little aspect, what your own journey has brought to the world, right?
For sure. Yeah, it's definitely one of those books that I just completely devoured and got through really quickly, because it was just such a powerful story. And at the time of my life, it was like I was in that mindset of where I needed to hear the message.
Perfect. It's, as you say, are you the road? Are you the traveler? Right? It's You have to sort of figure it out, and if you don't know, which is the answer?
Exactly.
I love it very, very much. And another song that I definitely love off this album, it might be my favorite track, is Love Can Save Us, if we let it, of course, as you like to say inside of that track too. So what sort of inspired this song itself? Was it just that basic idea, or what brought this one to life?
Yeah. So I was fortunate to, well, this starts a couple of years ago, but I was fortunate to open a few shows for a fantastic Canadian artist named Craig Cardiff. And he's got these incredible sing along songs. And when you see him perform with the crowd, he's got this magnetic energy. And I remember thinking, like, I love that a lot of these songs that he's writing and performing are these simple and powerful statements of, that are so true, undeniably true. And I had this note, that this kind of poem I've been working on, and it said something along the lines of that love can save us if we let it. And, kind of tapping into that responsibility aspect of it, where, you need to let the love into your life, and you need to look around and see what's around, and see the love that's in it. And, a lot of us tend to give a lot, but there's an aspect of gracefully, like, receiving love from other people, from the people in your life. And that was kind of the message of that chorus. So the song actually came together very quickly, and I'm really happy with how it all came together, especially with the band arrangement. I'm just super happy with it.
No. I really, really enjoy how you just put that, where it's some of us can be givers, but some of us don't know how to receive love, even just in the form of compliments. Some of us get really awkward around them, and otherwise, when in reality it's like somebody's like showing you like respect, or like they care for you, whatever it happens to be. And it's like, it should just be as easy as like, yes, accept that, take it in, let it warm my soul. But for some of us, it's a little more difficult than that.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think it's a struggle that a lot of us deal with sometimes. So I'm glad that you picked up on that as well. And, if we let it in, then, it can save us, as the song says.
Open up your heart.
Amen.
And one thing that I noticed here is that you were mentioning sort of the full band aspect behind both of these songs. And you recently also got to play a CD release show, an album party, recently, I believe on the same day that the album came out. And for that, you also enlisted the help of a full band to sort of help to bring that full band energy to life in that live experience. So what was it like after years of doing the solo, driveway, the backyard concert thing? What was it like to finally have that full band to bring this to life?
In short, it was incredible. I hadn't played a full band show in about 3 years. So every now and then for a bigger event, I'll play a full band John Muirhead show, but it had been so long, and I enlisted the help of a few friends. We had a 6-piece band, including myself. So we were able to bring a lot of the elements from the album to life that night. And I couldn't be happier with how it went. It's definitely a nice sign that I'm going to have to be doing a lot more full band performances in the future. And there's a lot more that we're working on for 2022. But especially after traveling Canada alone, playing all these shows, doing the driveway concerts, I do really enjoy that, especially in the right setting. But we sold out the album release party, and to play a big crowd like that with everyone dancing and moving in a way that really only a full band set can do, it was powerful.
Mm-hmm. It brings an entirely different energy, and I love how you mentioned the fans there too, because the fans feed off of the band feeds off of the fans, and it's just this really powerful connection, and just the energy transfer that happens is amazing. It's wonderful.
For sure. And after so long of not being able to do that, it was just like, even better.
One of those things that you're going to remember for a long, long time, I'm sure.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Fantastic. And of course, you mentioned there the potential of some more future full band dates, probably maybe chomping at the bit to maybe get back on the road as well. So I have to ask, what does maybe the future hold otherwise besides maybe a couple of those band shows? Is there maybe some music videos, some potential tours? What does the future hold for John Muirhead?
Yeah, there's quite a bit on the list for 2022. So a lot more Canadian touring. Fingers crossed for some international opportunities, which you might hear about if you follow my socials and things like that. And then, yeah, here in Ontario, a lot more full band as well, and hopefully gradually expanding that as well.
Perfect. And like you mentioned there, the listeners should definitely go ahead and follow you on your social medias so that they can stay up to date with all of the amazing things that are going to be coming their way from yourself there. John, the best way to do it, I'll put some links down in the description below. And
Perfect.
I've had a blast chatting so far here, John. I have one last question. Are you ready for it?
I'm ready.
Okay. So, of course, we have talked about this adaptation process, the process of crafting this new album, Traveler, over the past 2 years. So, what I would really love to know now is how has this process, this time, how has it helped you to grow as a person, or what has it taught you about yourself?
That's a great question. The first is, I'd say, it was taught me a lot of patience. It's taught me a lot about adaptation and realizing that maybe when our plans change and there's things that don't go our way, that they can actually, you can find something positive in it. And it seems a very simple and kind of self-evident truth, but to actually experience, I lost a lot of my gigs and stuff I'd been working really hard towards in 2020. But through that, I built, a great community online and started doing live stream concerts, which I never really liked to do before. And now I love doing. And I was able to really put extra time into this album that I think would have turned out much differently if we had just done it in the original way. So I'm glad, the extra time I never really had with recordings. So these were all really positive things that came out of something that was really negative in the beginning. So I think just like giving myself time to see the bigger picture and zoom out a little bit was really big for me. And I think that, it taught me that good things take time. 2 years does seem like a really long time to work on an album, but I think it was worth every minute of it. So.
Hey, when you're pouring your soul into something and it's a representation of yourself, you want to make sure that it's a good representation, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
Well, I think that the 2 years spent crafting this album was definitely some time well spent. The listeners, you can go out and find this new album from John Muirhead right now on your favorite music streaming service. Once again, there will be some links in the description to this show here today. John, I have had an amazing time talking with you. Thank you so much for joining me here today.
Colton, I feel the same way. Thank you so much for having me. And I really appreciate this chat. It's been great.